Hi everybody. So for years now, everyone has talked about a Grand Theft Auto rival, and I personally don't really know what that means, but I do remember that before Watch Dogs released in 2014, some fans were calling this game the GTA Killer, and well, we all know how that turned out. And really, I think these terms are derived from the fact that in the history of gaming, we really haven't seen anything come close to Grand Theft Auto, as they may not have been the first to kind of come up with the whole open world 3D concept. As we know, Driver actually kind of did that first, and I'm sure there are some other games way back on the Nintendo, but as far as 3D open world games go, Driver was one of the first, but Grand Theft Auto did it better, and that's the reason that Grand Theft Auto is still the best, because they did it right, made a whole lot of money, and put that money back into it, and that's why their games are so great. But this time, there is something different going on. Former president of Rockstar North, who has worked on every Grand Theft Auto game, is creating a game, and he just raised over $42 million for it. Today, we're going to take a look at this. So if y'all enjoy, please give the video a thumbs up. Let's go for 2,000 likes for the GTA rival. Just kidding about the GTA rival part, but yeah, please click thumbs up for the algorithm. So, Leslie Benzies, former president of Rockstar North, who we've talked about on the channel before, he's worked on every single Grand Theft Auto game. He helped save Rockstar San Diego when they were going under during the making of Red Dead Redemption. He even helped unite all of Rockstar's different companies like San Diego, or the different branches, all of them into one. You've got just Rockstar North now, I believe. And it's all united. Now, Leslie Benzies has been with Rockstar Games since 1995, for over 20 years. Up until he left, if he was still with Rockstar, he would have been with them for 25 years. But he was with them when they started out as DMA Design, and like I said, he's an OG. But in early 2016, it was a shocker to the world when he announced that he had left Rockstar Games after 20 or so years being with the company, and after an 18-month sabbatical, where in September 2014, he took a sabbatical leave from Rockstar Games. But when he left, that's when things got messy, because about 2 months later, he tried to sue Rockstar Games and Take-Two Interactive for over $150 million in unpaid royalties. Now, 15 of those 18 cases were actually dismissed. All of it went to court. And then Rockstar Games and Leslie Benzies actually settled for an undisclosed amount of money. Leslie Benzies then went on to start a company called Royal Circus Games, but in 2018, he was threatened to be sued by Rockstar Games for the name being too similar, as the initials of Royal Circus Games is RCG, and Rockstar Games' initials are RSG. Since then, the company has been renamed to Build a Rocket Boy Games, and they've been working on an open-world sci-fi title called Everywhere for a few years now. Now, we haven't heard anything about this game really until literally yesterday, when it broke the web that former Rockstar president creates GTA 6 rival and raises $42 million. That's kind of the headline that most media outlets are running with, so I'm picking it up and running with it too. But the scary thing about all this is we know more about this sci-fi game called Everywhere that we really don't know about than we know about Grand Theft Auto 6. So the numbers seem to vary when it comes to this money that was raised between $40.8 million and $42 million bucks. And while that is an impressive amount of money to raise, it's also not impressive in the world of video games, at least in the modern day. I think Grand Theft Auto 5 took somewhere between $150 to $200 million to create. So in terms of this game being a GTA rival or anything like that, I just don't think that's going to happen, even with the guy who helped create every successful Grand Theft Auto game. Unless they scale their budget and can raise that into the hundreds of millions of dollars, I just don't see that kind of happening. But the thing here that makes this different is this is the guy who worked on every Grand Theft Auto, just to reiterate that. So because of that, people either are going to have super high hopes for this guy, or he knows what he's doing, and since he's made Grand Theft Auto so successful and helped with that, he can pull this off again and maybe create a whole other successful series that we've never really seen before. I just don't foresee that happening, especially with a sci-fi game. I think what helps make Grand Theft Auto so popular is not only the fact that you can do anything, but it's so similar to real life outside of the entertainment value and parody that when you're playing the game, you can just pretend it's real life, role play, and I think that's what makes it very, very fun, just how similar it is to real life. So a sci-fi game doing that, I just don't think that's the case. It's also interesting to note that when Leslie Benzies left Rockstar Games, he also took with him about 15 to 20 longtime employees who had also worked on pretty much every single Grand Theft Auto game. So he's got some solid muscle to back him up there. The only problem I can think of is either this game will, one, crash and burn, it'll be, or two, be too similar to Grand Theft Auto as far as mechanics go, or three, it might just become super successful, or four, it'll just kind of fall flat on its face. Fans will pick it up because it's the guy who helped create Grand Theft Auto, and then they might either be satisfied with the game or disappointed. That just kind of seems to be the cycle of games nowadays, aside from like Grand Theft Auto and Fortnite, which we'll talk about in a moment. Because personally, I don't see this game becoming something huge like people might be anticipating just because this guy has worked on previous Grand Theft Auto games, and that's no disrespect to Leslie Benzies, the Build-A-Boy Rocket game team, or any game developer in general. But in the past few years, I've noticed something, and it's that I can't think of any memorable games out there like I could with the, say, PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 generation of games, where I could think of like Modern Warfare 2, GTA 4, and just so much more off the top of my head. There was the Halo games. It was just a great time to be a gamer. But when it comes to this generation of games, I can only think of two. Grand Theft Auto, and in recent years, Fortnite. Maybe Call of Duty Ghosts, because that kind of came out around the time that the new generation consoles did, or the current generation now. But it just seems that in recent years, games die out within a month or two after the release. So I hope that this game is successful and provides an enjoyable experience that we've never seen before. When I think of this game called Everywhere, I think of Cyberpunk 2077, to be honest. And if there was anyone to do this and make it successful, though, it'd definitely be the man who has helped with every Grand Theft Auto game, and the team as well that he brought with him. So, last thing that I do want to touch base on is, where did this money come from? To raise $42 million? Was there a GoFundMe? What was it? Because we really didn't hear about it. And no, there wasn't a GoFundMe or anything like that. But you would think raising $42 million would come from multiple sources, but believe it or not, $32 million of this 42 has actually come from Galaxy Interactive and NetEase Maker, a group of cryptocurrency investors. So these guys are very optimistic about this investment. So I guess only time will tell. Hopefully we see some info regarding Everywhere come out soon, maybe a couple screenshots or something to kind of see what we're working with. But until then, I guess only time will tell. But hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. Wanted to just touch base on this GTA 6 rival that's going to be coming out. And lastly, if GTA 6 and this game were to come out at the same time, this game just wouldn't stand a chance, because no matter what and who this guy is and the name that he has and the reputation, GTA 6 is still GTA 6, whether this guy's with Rockstar or not. So it would definitely bury this game. Nobody would even remember it. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But until then, like I said, only time will tell. If y'all enjoy, click thumbs up, consider subscribing. But until next time, I'm Zach Cox. Thank y'all for tuning in, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side.